Welcome back. We're with the Managing Director of Bajaj Auto, Mr. Rajiv Bajaj, who is this week's judge on the pitch. Okay, Rajiv, now for the obvious question. Yoga, homeopathy, and how you've applied your lessons from that, your learnings from that to the company.
As a company, instead of always looking outside and commenting on and trying to account for what happens outside, perhaps Bajaj Auto's first task should be to look within itself. First you strengthen yourself from within. Then you can seek some specific technology from the outside, for example. So in every area of our operation, we thought we should have an inside-out approach. And that's precisely the approach that is common to both homeopathy and yoga. And I found in the organon of homeopathy, called the organon of medicine, in fact, written by the founder of homeopathy, Dr. Hahnemann, about 300 aphorisms, or you could say principles, which should be used by a homeopath to effectively cure and heal a patient. I was able to fortunately translate that or interpret that in a business context. So that became my management book, the organon of management for me, with which I was able to then go about my task of managing the company.
Okay, Rajiv, my second question. Money spent on research and development in Indian companies doesn't form a very large slice of the pie at all. But ever since you took over as managing director, you've had a consistent importance and thrust placed on R&D and put your rupees behind that. Why?
Basically, Rahul, most Indian consumer durable companies, not just motorcycle or auto companies, you would see have their roots in borrowed technology. Unfortunately, we really didn't have an R&D because we'd been leaning on Piaggio or subsequently on Kawasaki. So we had to start from scratch to build an R&D. And that put us at a serious disadvantage vis-a-vis our global competitors, especially the Japanese, because we were so far down the learning curve that we were bound to make mistakes as we tried to climb it faster in order to close the gap. So we started in right earnest around 95, and that's been 16 years effort so far.
So when you started in 95, obviously there was a lag.
Sure.
Because it took time for you guys to make mistakes, get up to speed. How long was that lag?
Well, I think we were pretty much floundering till about 3 or 4 years back. Over the 80s, Bajaj Auto grew faster than even Reliance. And we were really top of the heap at that time. We couldn't do anything wrong. We made almost more money than any other private sector company. 50% market share, years of waiting period. This was 1989. In 1999-2000, this business lost money. Unfortunately, some problems take longer to solve, and we thought it would be wiser in the long term to invest in areas like R&D, which would ultimately pay off, than to try and find some stopgap solutions. And today, fortunately, we are in a position where the levers, such as the R&D lever, are available, are in our hands, and we are in charge of our own destiny.
Okay. So now it comes to your questions. Yes.
Rajiv, you said it's not about the mother company, but it's about the brands. But I can recollect a couple of incidents where you pulled the plug on a few brands like the Bajaj Crystal. So when do you decide when to pull the plug of a brand? And do you think by doing this you lose customer traction? And how will customers believe when you launch a new brand?
What we realized is people actually buy into positions, people buy into perceptions. We realized that we are not an engineering company. We need a good R&D, it's a necessary condition, but it's not a sufficient condition. So when we looked hard at some of our products, like the Crystal and others that you mentioned, we saw that they were really laggards. Not just in terms of volumes, but most importantly in terms of price. Because ultimately, the only thing that tells you about the potency of a brand is the price of the brand. So we looked at those brands like Pulsar and Discover, and indeed the Boxer, which could charge a small premium over competition, thus establishing the fact that they were very strong brands. And then we stuck with those brands and discontinued the rest. What we've understood is you never launch a new product. That's why 90% of the products fail. What you're supposed to launch is the perception of a new category. When people see what you have to offer, whatever it might be, they should feel there is no category like this. That is what leads to curiosity. And as Asimov said, perhaps at the beginning, there was curiosity. And it is that curiosity that will bring business to your doorstep. If you have to sell your business out of the door, you go bankrupt trying to do that.
Okay, now it's time for Mr. Bajaj to reveal the task of the day. Rajiv, will you...
Sure. The task idea is this. The strong R&D cell at Bajaj Auto forms the core of the company. This is going to be a group task. You're going to approach this as 2 groups of 3 members each. The 7th person, well, there's a twist lying in wait there that Rahul will reveal at the end of the task. I'd now like to share with you the task idea itself. The strong R&D cell at Bajaj Auto forms the core of the company. Currently, the company is number 2 in the two-wheeler segment. Using the developments that are currently in progress at the R&D in regards to any of the future products, components, designs or ideas, you have to identify that one product, component, technology, design or idea that in your view would become the big idea, the one big idea for the future and would influence the two-wheeler motorcycle segment in a big way. Upon identifying that, you have to make a marketing and sales strategy for the launch of that particular big idea that would enhance the final product, keeping the following goals or the following parameters in mind. And there are 3. The first one is the marketing and sales strategy would be directed to steer the company into a number 1 position in terms of the total market size within the next 5 years. Number 2, it would eventually have an impact also on the international market with a gradual increase in the volumes of exports. And thirdly and finally, the way forward for the product using that particular big idea. Each group of 3 of you is required to make a 7-minute presentation to us. Of course, at the end of that, there will be an extension of 2 minutes for each group because there's a twist in the tail. And for that, back to Rahul.
All right. So now for the twist in the tail, and you know that it concerns Tony because he's the 7th member who is not a member of either of the 2 teams competing today. Tony, you will be the summarizing presenter of each team's presentation, and you will have 2 minutes to do that. Therefore, Tony, you know that the judge will walk away invariably with the closing argument freshest in his mind. After Tony does that, as we know, the judge, Rajiv in this case, will ask each of the presenters 1 question, and he will then round it off with the 4th dreaded question, and he will ask team leaders who they think was the strongest person in their group and who they think was the weakest. Okay, let's talk about the task. You will be briefed for 30 minutes by Mr. Ravi Kumar, the Vice President of Research and Development, on the R&D practices and ethos of Bajaj Auto. After that, teams go into your task huddles, spend 60 minutes preparing a presentation. A buzzer will go off at the end of 60 minutes. You will come in here and you will present. Cool? Tony, you will be working simultaneously. I expect you to divide your time in those 60 minutes between the 2 teams. Right, now we come to the selection of the teams. Rajiv, from last episode, Tony is pitched in, which means basically that even though, God forbid, you find him to be the weakest contestant on today's show, he cannot be eliminated.
Okay.
So, Tony, as the pitched-in candidate of today, I'd like you to come and pick out names from the Goldfish Bowl. The first name you pick up will be a member of, let's call it Team A. The second name, the first member of Team B. The third name, the second member of Team A, and so forth. So we'll have 3 and 3, and after which I would like you to choose the leader of Team A and Team B. Clear? Come, please.
Jennifer.
After Jennifer, Tony chose Sriram and Rajiv as Team A members, whereas Priyanka, Aparna and Ninad were chosen as Team B members. Further, Tony selected Jennifer as the leader of Team A and Ninad as leader of Team B. Tony works simultaneously with both the teams' tasks and will be summarizing the respective teams' presentations at the end of each team's individual presentations.
What's going to be interesting now is to see how the 2 groups have analyzed all the R&D data and information they've received and what they think is the big idea for Bajaj Auto in the future. We'll see all that after a break.
In the corporate world, many people believe that a brand ambassador is one of the ingredients of success, one of the causes of success. What I've come to realize is the brand ambassador is actually a result of success.
And now for the Samsung Galaxy Tab 750 contest. What is the size of the Samsung Galaxy Tab 750? A. 230.9 by 157.8 by 8.6 mm. B. 256.6 by 172.9 by 8.6 mm. C. 245.7 by 168.5 by 9.7 mm. To send in your answers, type pitch space question number space A, B or C and send in your answers to 59995 or email us at thepitch@bloombergutv.com. One lucky winner who can answer the maximum number of correct answers gets to win a Samsung Galaxy Tab 750 at the end of the series.